This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning everybody. We're continuing in Mishna Berura Yomi. Mishna Berura Daf Hashavua. Siman Chav Zayin Seif Hey. Siman Chav Zayin Seif Hey. Adam Shu Alo Le Nazilos. Someone who is prone to Nazilos. The Mishna Berura explains he has a wound or some kind of irritation, and the cold is going to cause him harm. So he cannot uncover his head. The only thing is, if he doesn't take off the cover, there's going to be a hefsek between the tefillin and his head. We just said in Seif Daled, Lo Yehei Davar Choitze, it's bein tefillin lebesaroi. And that's because it says, Al Yadecha, Bein Einecha. It has to be directly on the body. But someone who's prone to this illness, if you're going to tell him, pal, you must put the tefillin on your head, he's not going to put it on. You could allow him to put the tefillin shorosh al hakoiva on the head, al hakoiva dak, a thin cloth, hasamach l'rosh, and he should cover it because of the onlookers. We'll see what that means. Someone who's going to put it on in such a way should not make a bracha on the shorosh, rak yivarach al shal yad lehaniach. Now, do you make an al mitzvahs on the shel yad? I mean, l'chayra. But let's see. The Ramah doesn't say that though. It says in Mishna Berura, Olo lenazilos sivkating and zayin perush sheyesh le machayiv. He has a wound, a mechosh or an irritation b'roishai. Ve'im yegale roisho yazik la'kris. If he uncovers his head, the cold will damage him. Kiven shu anos, since he has this extenuating circumstance, yachal lismach ala rajba desvirle de'ein chashash b'chatzitza. Shitas rajba is there's no chashash about chatzitza. V'loi ne'emar bein einecha ela l'sayim lahem makayim. It only says bein einecha as a indication of where it should be put. Umishum l'cha la'ois v'loi la'acherim la'ois leka b'tfilin shorosh. And the inyan, meaning bein einecha, doesn't mean it has to be between your eyes. Mamish, that it has to be on the flesh without any separation at all. It's only a designation of location. What about it should be for you and not for anybody else? No, there is no such din by tefillin shel rosh. It's only by tefillin shel yad. But by tefillin shel rosh it says the behuk sevro kol amei arz ki shem Hashem nikra alecha. So why are we telling you to cover it? Because of the onlookers, they're not going to realize the person is an anas. So he's being soimech on the shita of the Rashba. The Dirshu brings down something very interesting from Rosh Zalman, that what would the halacha be that if as a result of doing a mitzvah, a person would become a Baal Mum? Do you have to be mekayim the mitzvah? We know there's certain limitations. In other words, a person has to be mekayim mitzvahs, but up to a point. You don't have to lose more than a fifth of your money. What if a person would become rendered a Baal Mum in a certain area? So, Rav Shlomo Zalman says, from this halacha you see that a person is not required to become a Baal Mum if he's going to be mekayim a mitzvah. Therefore, a child that's born with let's say a crooked leg, and you have to put the whole leg in a cast, and which would mean you'd have to push off his milah. The halacha is you push off the milah, because a person's not mechuyev to be mekayim a mitzvah if it would render a person a Baal Mum. Okay, Mishna Berura continues. Tefillah shel rosh ala kovadak v'im yesh le'maka b'yad b'maka menachas haktzitza. What if somebody has a wound in the place where you put on the shel yad? V'hamaka mispashetes b'chala kibayres, and the maka spreads out to the whole bicep. Mutter lo lahaniach al haratia. It's mutter to put it on the bandage, if there's no other eitzah. You don't make a bracha to das reva poskim the chatzitza poisalas. The opinion of most poskim is chatzitza is poisal. Vivarich shtayim al shalroish kidal el b'simin chavav, and you'd make 2 brachos on the shalroish. You should cover it with another beged, because it says it should be for you as an ois v'darshinim l'chala ois v'lei lachem l'ois. I have a question. How, on Rav Shlomo Zalman, how could you learn from here that you're allowed to push off a mitzvah if it's going to render a person a Baal Mum? I would say no, there's no raya from here. In this case, you're being soimech on the shita, the Rajba, that who holds chatzitza is not a problem. But nowhere do you see you could push off a mitzvah straight up to avoid becoming a Baal Mum. Meaning, it might be logical to say that becoming a Baal Mum is worth more than 1/5 of your money. That I would say on my own. That the same way I don't have to be Mekayim a mitzvah if I'm going to lose more than 1/5 of my money. I don't have to be Mekayim a mitzvah if it's going to render me a Baal Mum. But to bring a raya from this halacha, no, I don't think it's a raya at all. I didn't see it inside, but I don't think it's a raya from this halacha. It's quoted from the Mishna Berura B'Yitzchak Yikareh. I don't have that Mishna Berura. Okay, Rabbi Yeager will look it up. V'davka al ratiyah. This halacha is only on a bandage. Avalaniach tefillin al chalukai, to put it on a shirt, on your shirt. Yesham na'asar fil b'yesh leimaka. Some say even if there's a makkah you can't do it. V'afilim yilbash olav beged acher. Only on a bandage, not on a shirt. What about a cast? The Minchas Yitzchak, the Chalkas Yaakov says you should put tefillin on top of the cast. It's not like putting on a shirt, because the cast is batal to the arm. However, Shalos Chuvas Evan Yisrael says you can put tefillin on a cast, because the cast is not batal to the arm. Says Rav Menashe Klein also, the cast is very thick, you can't even feel it, and you should not put on tefillin at all, says Rav Menashe Klein. Okay, I think most people do put on. Maybe nowadays the cast is softer, but I'm lav dafka. Okay. HaKoivadak, avam kava ava also anicham. The koiva is thick, you can't put it on. Do yichal chavin od samtzim makam shamach shal tinek roifes. If it's a thick hat, you can't be mechavin to the precise location. Rak yivarch, you just make a bracha of lohaniach on the shal yad. V'yichavin lo yitzi shal roish b'lav hachidas hari poskim shem mevarch al shneim ala achas. Anyway, many poskim hold you only make one bracha on both. V'ayin bebach v'oilas tameh demashim medavreim denachin lizor shal kapanim b'shas kriyas shema u'tfila yebli chatzitza klal. At the very least, if this person can bear having the tefillin on his head without any chatzitza for kriyas shema and tefillah, that would be preferable. Sif vav. Let's start sif vav. Let's take a poll. Anybody who's a lefty here? Who are lefties? Nasim, well, there's a lefty in both hands. What? Yeah, he's ambidextrous. Who else? Anybody else? I'm a righty, but I come from, my kids I have a lot of lefties. Usher is a lefty. Okay. My kids are all lefties. Really? Rabbi Yeager's kids are all lefties. Mine also. Rebbitzon's a lefty. Both her parents are lefties. All her siblings are righties, but she's full-fledged lefty. I have a bunch of lefties here. In fact, when my oldest boy put on tefillin, I was lost. I could not get the tefillin on him. It could not wrap my mind around the other way to do it. So my next son became bar mitzvah. Usually the father puts on tefillin, but he had his older brother put on the tefillin, because I still can't wrap my righty mind. I can't wrap it around the lefty putting on the tefillin. Okay, sif katan chaf aleph. The iter yad yaminoi. V'ayin le'el b'sif katan yud beis. Yad yaminoi. 1 second. The iter yad yaminoi. A lefty. Im oisa kol melachta b'smailoi. If he does everything with his left hand, meiniach b'smailoi, he puts tefillin on his left hand. Shu yimin shel kol adam, which is the right of everybody else. So a lefty that does everything on his left hand, he puts the tefillin on what is his weaker hand, which is everybody else's right hand. Says the Mishna Berura, "V'iter v'ayin le'el b'siman b'siv katon yud beis." Yad yaminai. He does he's a lefty in his right hand. V'afilu nasa iter al yidei sheher Glatstein achar kach v'lo noilad kach. What if he trained himself? He wanted to get a big contract in Major League Baseball, and he knew that a good lefty pitcher is hard to come by, so he trained himself to be a lefty. Yaniach biyamin, he should put one on his right hand. V'chosh kenim min hashemayim hergilu, and certainly if that's what his nature was. What if somebody, Chas v'Shalom, became paralyzed in both hands? And then the hand that regained strength is his left hand. Says Rabbi Yashav, he's still a righty. Okay. The Mishna Berura continues. Dahainu, shenoilad lo choili biyamino v'nita kach mimenu. What if somebody became ill and he couldn't use his right hand? Or the right hand got cut off. He definitely has the din of a full-fledged lefty. And he should put it on the hand that is operable. Then he's like everyone else and he puts it back on the right hand. Says the Mishna Berura, Kol malachdai, hu adin afilu rak roiv malachdai. A lefty doesn't mean he does everything in his left hand, it means he does most things in his left hand. Then he is a lefty. Rabbi said we're going to hold it over here. We'll see everyone, Ezras Hashem, in 1 week's time, and we will be still on track. Okay, so basically we are currently 3 days ahead. So when we pick up on Wednesday, we just have to do the second half of Daf Lamed Zayin here, and we'll be on track. Okay, everyone, have a wonderful day. Bracha v'atzlacha. Kol tov.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.